welcome back to another episode of the Archives with Adam and Fab. This time I have another guest. Without further ado, let me go on and bring on Baha Jackson. Baha, how we doing tonight, man?
Great, man. I appreciate you pronouncing my name the way I say it.
For sure.
Most people say Baha. How are you, sir?
Hey, not too bad, man. I just got off of work about an hour and a half ago. So it's the weekend, ready to get it going, and glad we're finally getting to do this. I know we've been back and forth trying to get it to happen, but we're busy guys. So
what type of work do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so I work in the medical field. So I do patient registration at one of our local hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she normally does these with me, but she's not on tonight. She's a registered nurse at one of our other local hospitals. So
okay. So it's Adam and Fabi. Adam and Fabiola.
Yeah, the Adam and Fab Adventures, or the Archives with Adam and Fab, which is this segment when we're not doing adventures, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, without further ado, we finally got you on. A lot of people know you as a child actor, or even still an actor. Would you say? I mean, you still got that in you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I act a fool every day. But yeah, I do think that's definitely a part of my persona, acting. Just because I don't necessarily do it on the big screen doesn't mean that I don't still do it, or have those, thoughts of acting. But yeah,
for sure.
I would say I'm an actor, but also much more than that, as most actors are.
Yeah, I mean, you're a father now, and I mean, now you're a chef as well.
Yes. Definitely a chef and a father. Those are big parts of my life. Still kind of a doughboy, boy in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It still amazes me that people still recognize me and still want to talk to me and still know who I am, and you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
It's amazing. I mean, you pretty much live low key, right? I mean, you just do your thing and, do the father thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I live here in Atlanta, and I'm a chef here in Atlanta, and I work at the Blue Flame, which is a popular club out here. So, okay. I mean, the cooking industry at a certain point is kind of like the entertainment industry, and they're very intertwined, especially here in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Sure. I still am a little connected, but yeah, my passion is definitely cooking and my children and just normal stuff. So yeah, I guess I do live a low key life compared to most people, I guess.
Definitely. So, I mean, I kind of want to talk about the cooking and things like that. I mean, we could get into Boyz n the Hood and all that other stuff later, but what got you into cooking? I mean, what had you wanting to do that after, playing in some pretty iconic movies?
Well, I come from the hood, right? Mm-hmm. So, actually, I was really one of the few people in that movie, very few people in that movie, who was a boy in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, that set, all of those sets were literally right around the corner from my house, where I grew up with and lived until I was, 20 years old. Those train tracks, all that, we walked on them and all that. So, when you grow up in the hood, most of the time, you get breakfast and dinner, right? Mm-hmm. Or any child that doesn't live a privileged life, you get breakfast and dinner, right? You might get lunch at school, but when you come home, you got to fend for yourself. You know what I mean? So cooking has always been part of my, whether we were cooking cheese toast or, ramen noodles or, whatever. I've always been cooking, and I've always, added a little extra to my food or did a little extra to make it taste better. You know what I mean? But
sure.
when I did do the movie, the first movie, Boys in the Hood, one of my favorite things was the food truck that was there for us to eat all day long. We had food available. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So that was a big deal to me. And craft service, where they had all these snacks and they had drinks and juices and like, you know, like when you're a young, I'm not gonna say I grew up poor, but I grew up in an urban setting. You know what I'm saying? So, and I grew up in a household where there was a lot of people. So you don't always have access to the things exactly that you want. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But when I got on the set, you know, and when you're a kid, what do you want? You want food pretty much, whether it be sweets or juices or whatever. And we had all that on the set. You know what I mean? Then I'm going to lunch and the guys are serving. I'm like, oh, this is great. Breakfast, I order whatever I want. They make it up for me. And then I started saying like, wow, you know, even on Boys in the Hood, I thought to myself like, I could do this. You know what I'm saying? I could just make food on the movie set. You know what I'm saying? And then when I got to, so after Boys in the Hood, of course, you know, I got a little bit of money, a little bit of fame. I start eating and doing things, you know what I'm saying? But on the set of Poetic Justice, they had the catering again, which I loved. But the craft service lady, her name was E.J. Wright. And she was different than the craft service because she would actually cook some shit too. Like she would cook up little, you know, I remember the first time thing she made was like some curry chicken or something. And I'm like, oh, she got hot food too. And like she made her stuff really special. And I really befriended her son, Kenyon. And even while I was doing the movies, I would go with them and do craft service. So really, that's when I started developing like, you know, I could really do this. You know what I'm saying? Like just cook. And, you know, I every set I was on had a different type of caterer and, you know, the food was good. So that really became my thing. Like, you know, I could always do that too. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has always told me, like John Singleton always told me, like, you're really a great natural actor. Like he always tried to encourage me to come back to acting. He said, but you always got to have something else, you know what I'm saying, to do. You know what I'm saying? You're not just a single talent person. Most of us aren't, you know what I mean? So for me, I always cooked. I always wanted to cook. And even while I was doing the movies, I realized that, you know, because those people make a lot of money. The actual set caterers and set, you know, craft service people, they make it, you know, compared to what the average person makes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I wanted to do that at all times. And then, you know, once my acting thing slowed down, I was still in school. So I did high school, got out. And just kind of, you know, I cooked for people for money, you know what I mean, every once in a while. But then when I met my wife, we met a guy who had this special diet. You might have heard of him. His name was Dr. Sabi. So he had a special diet. Yeah, Dr. Sabi. So we met him while we were doing a radio show in South Central LA. So we met him. And this was at the same time when I met my wife. And, you know, of course, I wanted to impress her. So we went vegan. And I came up with a whole, like, different style of cooking. And I just started a company. And I started catering. And then, you know, we ended up having our first child. So we moved here to Atlanta. And when I came to Atlanta, I just kind of hit the ground running, you know what I mean? Like, I think, where was my first job here? It was at Apache Cafe, a really good job, you know what I'm saying? I was executive chef at Apache, and then I've always done my catering thing, but I really like to eat and I really like to cook. So there's the simple answer to how I got into cooking and eating. My grandmother who raised me, she was a world-class cook, you know what I'm saying? And she fed a lot of people at all times. A lot of times, I don't know, you know, when we're young, we never think about what our parents and our grandparents do. Like, I don't know, what is your ethnic background?
I'm white and Hispanic, Mexican, but I was more so raised white. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but white people got grandmothers too, right?
True. Yeah, my grandma always took care of me. I mean, we would go spend the
Right,
weekends with her, have our, we would call it coffee milk, coffee and the milk in it with the sugar. We got to
right,
be
right, right.
careful not to tell our parents because, they would think that we are, going to stunt our growth or something is what we would always
Yeah,
hear.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't drink coffee as a kid. So,
Right,
I mean,
right. But the point I'm making is that your grandmother, she cooked for you and
mhm.
other people, you know what I mean? And or even your auntie or whoever. Like I remember these big family gatherings, right? And
Oh,
like brunches, we would have brunches at my aunt Portia's house, and it would be like 50 people, and everybody would be eating, and everybody, but somebody had to actually cook that food. So a lot of times, I think we forget that this is this is something that takes work and time, you know,
it
and
does.
so just as a chef, that's one of the problems of nowadays is everybody just wants everything like fast, 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 but they're not thinking
Yeah.
about what goes into making good food or even a good product on any level, whether you're talking about music or movies or whatever. Like you got a lot of musicians or rappers, whoever, you can listen to their music and tell they made it real fast and they just made it to get it out, or you know what I mean? It's all right, but it's not the greatest thing they ever made. You know what I mean?
It's
So
crazy
that's
how
how
you
I
say
look at it.
that. Cause like I tell people all the time. I mean, I love music. My girlfriend and I, we love music. We go to concerts all the time and things like that. But like for me, I can't do this newer generation of music just because they're so quick to put the music out to make a quick bag. They're not. There's no craft.
Right, right. They're not
Yeah.
taking their time to really, um, for me, I have to take my time to touch the food, to smell it, to see it, to listen to, you know what I'm saying? That all
Yeah.
takes time, you know what I'm saying? So for me, um, that's a that's one of the issues I have with trying to cook and trying to cook for other people, especially trying to have a actual job, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I've been very fortunate to have jobs where I could actually just, kind of sort of, flex my creative energy and take my time and make sure the product comes out good.
For sure. No, I definitely appreciate good food. Like you said. I mean, people don't seem to have time to cook, right? And so it's all fast food. And I've been guilty of that. We're guilty of
We
it all
all
the time
have.
because we're
We all
all
have.
guilty. Exactly. But I mean, when we go to like a concert and they got, all you can eat food at a suite or, at a sports game, I mean, it's nice. You could appreciate that for sure.
Right, right. And
For
just
sure.
remember, somebody had to like make that food. Somebody had to put it together. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, it sounds like your family's spoiled and get to enjoy some really good food. So, I mean, hopefully when we make it to Atlanta someday, I'll come find you and taste out some of the food that you make.
Man, I'm gonna come to Washington and cook for you.
Have you ever been here before?
No, I haven't, man. I haven't been to Seattle. I heard a lot
Okay.
of good things. I heard a lot of bad things. So,
What have you heard
but that's
about
every
Seattle?
city, though. That's every city. That's every
Yeah.
city. I
Yeah.
mean, when I
What
was
kind of?
very young,
Uh,
I heard when I was the first thing I ever heard about Seattle was when I was in my teen years. It was a it was there was some weed out called Seattle. It came from Seattle.
okay.
And it was some really good stuff. And it was like, oh, this is that Seattle, that Seattle. So that's the first I ever heard. And then
Okay.
I met a rapper from there when I was doing my radio show. And I was like, oh, Seattle got some hoods too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then, of course, I've heard about like you guys got some kind of civil unrest. But then recently, I watch another YouTuber. Well, he's not really a YouTuber, but his name is Star. And he's
Okay.
like, I love Seattle, and he's about to move there. So, hey.
I've been here all my life, man. I've lived in Idaho. I tell my girlfriend all the time that's where I want to retire. I mean, I've been all over Vegas, Florida, um, Oklahoma, Missouri. I mean, Louisiana, you name it. I mean, I've been to quite a few places, but yeah, Yeah, Idaho is, I think, where my heart is, but it's all about the
Idaho.
girlfriend, man. Yeah, it's crazy, man. People probably think I'm crazy.
Nah. I mean, Idaho, that's probably a place where you can get like 50 acres for 50 grand or something. But why do you like Idaho?
I like the holidays. I like to go out and check the festive lights and stuff. I like haunted houses and in their the area I live was like 45 minutes out of Boise. So for that, I mean, they decorated the town, for the holidays. You had music playing, you had the little food trucks you could go stop at, get some hot chocolate, eat some good food. I mean, who doesn't love food trucks, right? But yeah, man, they just go all out for that kind of stuff. And that's that stuff that kind of like we're lacking here in Washington. We don't really have much besides hiking. And I'm a big guy, man. You ain't catching me hiking, but like we don't have, go ahead.
It sounds like you want some old school Americana.
Pretty much, man. Like I was talking to my girlfriend, like you don't see any like sit down restaurants per se out here. You have to like go out far, like out to the mountains and stuff to find those places. But like we live like 20 minutes from Seattle. Even in the surrounding areas, there's not really many sit down places, where people actually take their time and cook. It's all like microwave and things like that. Nobody really wants to do that. You want to enjoy a good meal.
All right.
Yeah. So, I mean, Seattle's cool. It rains. It's cold. I mean, it's nice and sunny out right now, but that won't last that long.
Oh, okay. So it does rain a lot up there in Washington then, huh?
It does. It does. I mean, the town that Kurt Cobain lived in, my sister actually lives out there. It's like an hour and a half from us. And it's a depressing town, man. We got a lot of homelessness. I'm sure it's a lot like everywhere, right? But Portland and Seattle are getting the worst of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. So now I kind of want to talk about Boyz n the Hood, man. Iconic classic movie. You were what, 10 years old at that time?
I believe so. I believe I was 10 or 11.
So what got you into acting? Was that something you wanted to do? I mean, I know a little bit of the backstory, but not everybody knows like, hey, did this person really truly want to do movie acting?
I mean, when you growing up in the hood or whatever, you always want to be famous or you want to do something. I think I wanted to be a doctor or something when I was a kid. Then I wanted to be like a drug dealer or something. I don't know. When you're young and you in the hood or whatever, I know it sounds cliche, but you're just like on everyday survival mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see stuff, you want to be a sports star. Okay, that's normal. You want to be famous, that's normal. Your teacher was nice to you, maybe you could be a teacher. You don't really know what you want to do at 10. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Which is why I don't agree with a whole nother thing that's going on in the world right now. But whatever, we won't talk about that. But when you're 10 years old, you're you could want to be anything. You know what I mean? But I think my personality presented as, the kind of guy who, could have been kind of entertaining. You know what I mean? Sure. I do come from a large family. So, a lot of times when you have a lot of people around, you got to find a way to be unique or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I was kind of funny or whatever. But like I said, I actually grew up in that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in the whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call it nowadays. But I grew up over there for real. I went to 59th Street High School. Not high school, 59th Street Elementary School, Crenshaw High School. We played it. I learned how to swim at Van Ness Park. Like, I'm really from that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the story is, like I said, I have a very large family, which means I have a very large extended family. So this is ghetto, but my cousin's baby daddy's mama knew somebody who was working on the film, and they were having a hard time casting this role as Doughboy. And so it was relayed to one person or another. And of course, my cousin's baby daddy I'm gonna just say my cousin. He's my cousin too, but he said, "You is what?" He's like, "That sound like Baha. Like you guys should go get Baha and take him over there." Because the role, sounded pretty much like me. So they came and got me out of school one day, and I went up there, and like when I met John, it was like some like instant rapport, right? Like I used to be a really smart kid, so they gave me the script, I think on the way to the audition, and by the time I had gotten there, I had remembered the whole script, right? So, and I had figured out, what this character is. I guess, if I think about it, I guess it was pretty amazing for a little kid to just, you know what I'm saying? So I walked in there and, it was like an immediate audition. It wasn't like some other auditions I had went on after that, because before that, remember, I was not an actor. I was just a regular, person in the hood or whatever. But that audition was different in the fact that when I went to the audition, I met, I forget who I met first, but John was there already. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like they had every part but mine, and everybody was there. So I, like almost immediately met John. He's like, "Oh, you supposed to be the doughboy? Are you what I'm looking for?" And he's like, "I don't." I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? He was like, "All right, man, you seem cool or whatever." So we go, and he's like, "Come on in here and talk to me." So I talked to him for a few minutes, and I'm like looking around. I literally am an hour out of class, math class or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking around, and so he's like, "Come on in and talk to me." And then he's like, "Okay, you gonna be playing Doughboy." And then he's like, "I want you to meet, who you playing." And Ice Cube walks in. I'm like, "Oh shit, Ice Cube." You know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell? So then he he was reading with me. So we start to read or whatever, and I'm reading the script, and I'm talking to him at the same time. And I guess I forget who was in the scene with me, but they missed the line. I'm like, "No, that's your line." He's like, "Oh, you remember that too?" He's like, "Oh, you remember the whole script?" So I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm just riding the wave, like I'm just being me, like. And so he was like, "Man," he's like, "Shoot, we got some other people out there, but you my man, you Doughboy." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." You know what I mean? But one of the things that really caught my eye that day was like in this little office area, I guess they were renting it, but there was like a little stack of comic books. And I'm like, "Oh, can I see?" You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Oh, comic books?" And John was like a real nerd. Like that was one of the things we connected on was comic books. So I'm like, "Okay, cool. He likes comic books," and they talking about me being in a movie, and that was it. Like from then on, me and John was just hella cool. You know what I'm saying? He was a mentor in my life, and we did the movie, and I kind of, I don't know, I feel like I was on autopilot for that. But I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good,
man. So yeah, man, just a great experience of a movie for me. And like I said, I just, I guess I just was Doughboy, like, you know what I mean? So it was really a natural thing for me to do, you know what I mean? And that's the story of how I got into acting.
That's crazy. How was it meeting Ice Cube, man? That's like one of the people that we wanted to ever meet was Ice Cube. Like my sister, like just a little fun information for you. We used to listen to the radio back in the day, man, and enter contest. And my sister won a meet and greet to meet Ice Cube at one of our local radio stations. And unfortunately, she wasn't, 18 or older at that time. So my parents went up. Yeah, so my parents went upstairs, got to meet him, got a picture signed. My sister had like this big old box of Twizzlers or something. Cube comes down and was like, "Hey, can I get some of those?" And then she was like, "Yeah." And so he like took a picture or something with her, or signed a picture for her. But man, I hear he's a great dude to meet, man.
Nah, he was hella cool, man. Like back in the day, I mean, I'm from South. Well, I don't know if you would call it South City, whatever. I'm from the hood over there, and as you know, NWA, Ice Cube. But particularly for me, Ice Cube I was a really big fan of Ice Cube. Everybody was a big fan of Ice Cube, especially around where I was from. You know what I mean? But I don't know how I can say this. Not that I was definitely starstruck, but I wasn't at the same time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I treat people as people. You know what I mean? Now, for me to say it wasn't like, oh, Ice Cube, it was like, oh, Ice Cube, like for real. But then when you're a kid and you're like, oh, well, that's him, and he's not as tall as I thought he would be. Stupid stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But as far as him being cool, man, that dude is hella cool, man. Ice Cube, he was cool. He was like never Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? He even came and picked me up a few times, took me to the mall. We hung out a few times. I've never, like every time I've ever seen him subsequently, he's always been very gracious and cool with me. Just a cool, down-to-earth dude, man. I can see why he's hella successful too, because even back then you could see like he's cool, but he's calculating, he's learning. You know what I mean? Just as you see, he did that movie, did another movie, and now he's doing his own movies. He owns a basketball league now, like, you know what I mean? But so far as when I met him, he was hella cool, man. Every time I've met him, he was hella cool. Just down to earth, you know what I mean? Regular type of guy. And I think that's pretty important in that industry, is being down to earth, but then at the same time, people want a movie star.
For sure.
People want something, you know what I mean? People want the fantasy to be true of what they believe, you know what I mean? So Definitely. That's why sometimes people talk shit about celebrities, like, oh, he wasn't this, or he was this, or like, these are people too. Yeah. This is like I tell my kids, like, parents are people too. A lot of times kids don't like appreciate their parents, or they don't think their parents understand. Your parents are just regular people, like trying to, on a constant journey to grow. You know, so same thing with celebrities. You know what I'm saying? You got to give them a break sometimes. Sometimes they can't live up to your expectations. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we have some of those guys like on our Seahawks team, but we've also had some, unfortunately, not going to name any names, that were just all a gimmick, all a show, doing it for that image. But we'll see. Right. I'm sure you know where I'm going with that.
yeah, man. It's crazy though, because we all are the same. Like, I'm not commenting on his whatever's going on with him legally, but like Young Thug, right? Big superstar, especially here in Atlanta. He's very well respected here in Atlanta. But right now, he's in the whatever county jail, right?
Yeah.
With all of those other inmates, and he's just a normal person. Like, he's Young Thug, and he's fighting the case, but he's eating the same slop they're eating. He's in the same, messed up cell. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So things like that will equalize you. You know what I mean? But some people don't need to be equalized because they keep a nice balance. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I think for Cube, that's one of the things that he really did, kept a nice balance. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, he knew where he came from, man. All that NWA stuff, and then obviously the things he was dealing with in between all of that, and then it led him to where he was at now. And I feel like if it didn't happen the way it did, we wouldn't really have. I don't believe there would have been a Cube by himself. You know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't have the actor Cube. None of that. We wouldn't. I mean, history, the way it plays out, just is crazy. So
right.
Yeah. There's no relation between, like, you and Cube aren't related at all, man. You guys got the same last
That's
name.
Crazy,
you guys look alike.
I told you when he took me to the mall that time, he bought a watch. And it was like it was like an $8,000 watch. which doesn't seem like a lot nowadays, but it was in the 90s. And he paid with his credit card. And I was like, your last name is Jackson? I'm like, you know what, man? You're probably my cousin or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, to be honest with you. I didn't grow up with my father's side of my family. You know, it's like that Everclear song. My daddy gave me a name.
Yeah, no, you guys got a lot of similarities in the face.
Yeah, but that's all I really know. We might be, man. And yeah, I've always, you know, we might be. Me and Michael and Janet and all of them. They my cousins.
So do you still talk to any of the guys from the cast? I mean, you had a lot of co-stars that were younger at the time, like Desi Arnaz the third, and do you still talk
Desi,
to any of those?
Yeah, I talk to Desi every once in a while, and I talk to Kenny every once in a while. Donovan, I haven't talked to in a while. I saw his brother not too long ago. But yeah, I mean, I talk to people every once in a while. For the most part, like, I don't really necessarily keep in contact, but when I see people or talk to people, you know. But
it's like the friendship was never lost or anything, right?
No. One thing about the Boyz in the Hood set that was really, really unique was that it was very it was like a family. It was, you know, for me to do that movie as my first movie kind of messed me up because I thought that's how all movie sets were. Like, it was really familial. There was a lot of camaraderie. Everybody was like really behind John, like, you know, and everybody was really loving and supportive and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? And then me just being a first time actor or whatever and trying to do this movie in my hood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was really cool, man. Like, that was a really good set to be on. And like I said, if I see anybody from that set, it's never like, oh, who are you? You know what I'm saying? They all know me and we, you know. But that kind of messed me up because after that, I think I did Poetic Justice, another John Singleton movie. He wrote me in, you know what I'm saying, as me. And then while I did Poetic Justice, I ended up doing Three Ninjas and another movie called Mr. Jones, and then a TV show called Rhythm and Blues, but it just didn't get syndicated. But what I'm trying to say is, like, after those movies, like Poetic Justice and Boyz in the Hood, I started being on, I don't want to say real movie sets, but movie sets that didn't have the same. I was like an actor that was working, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to have a little bit more professionalism to me, you know what I mean? And it was more business, you know what I mean? Which, you know, hindsight is 2020. You know, I should have probably tried to learn from that too, you know what I mean? But I was just so used to, like, being, like I said, John and me were real cool. So, like, even on the set of Poetic Justice, I'm, like, chilling with really big stars, like, you know, Heavy. I don't even think Heavy D was in the movie, but I met Heavy D at the office where they were doing the casting. I don't even think he was in the movie, but he was hella cool. Crazy. You know, Janet Jackson and Tupac and all of those people, you know what I'm saying? But for me, I was Baha, like I was John's boy, you know what I'm saying? And not to mention, like, after Boyz in the Hood, I was like a hood celebrity. Like, everywhere I went in LA, everybody, you know, gave me love and whoop-de-whoop. Yep. So I'm on this set of Poetic Justice, me feeling myself like, you know, I'm gonna be just a bigger star as them, you know what I'm saying? But that was cool because I didn't treat them like strange, you know what I'm saying? Like, even like with Janet Jackson and Tupac or whatever, like, I chill with both of them, but we just chilled. They talked to me, I talked to them. It wasn't like, oh, you know what I mean? Now, of course, hindsight is 2020. You wish you would have, you know, did more or took more pictures or something, you know what I mean? But I wasn't trying to take pictures and stuff because I just felt like, you know, to me, the biggest star was always John. because John wrote movies, direct movies, and put them out into to actual, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it was him. And everybody on the John Singleton set usually was like really behind John Singleton. And I was his boy. So I was winning, you know what I'm saying? Like I was winning, bro. Yeah. So like when I used to chill with Janet Jackson and eat lunch, we would talk or whatever. It was cool, you know. Like it was great. I can't lie. It was a great experience to meet those people. You know what I'm saying? Like Janet Jackson, like, you know, I grew up in the 80s and like there was all these rumors about the Jacksons and this and the third and plastic surgery and all this. Man, when I met her, she was so fine, like plain Jane fine. Like she was fine, bro. And I just couldn't get over it because I just was thinking like, oh, she's not gonna look like this or that. Man, Janet Jackson in person, like, and a lot of these people, we think they fine, but you don't even really see them. Like some people are photogenic, like on camera, they look good. Some people are not. Some people don't even look as good as they really look. And for me, Janet Jackson, man, she was so fine in person. And then to find out that she was nice and cool and not like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I would just go up to her trailer and knock on the door, come in, we talk and sit and eat and all of that. She was a real cool, genuine person. But that was like a John Singleton set, like what do they call it? A side effect of it. Everybody was just cool, you know what I'm saying? Because he was
just felt like family.
Yeah, man. You know. So yeah, man. That's that is that's that. I'm rambling, man.
Oh no, you're good, man. I'm enjoying this. You know, it's these are things that obviously I wouldn't know unless, you know, we've been in communication and making this happen. So I mean that's really, really cool. I mean, Boys in the Hood, you had Angela Bassett, Lawrence Fishburne, Ice Cube.
Oh man, yeah. All good people, bro. Lawrence Fishburne. And I was like, I knew Lawrence Fishburne from freaking Pee-wee's Playhouse. Yeah. But like when I met him, he was like real cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then the thing, like all these people went on to be like mega stars. Like he was in the Matrix, you know what I'm saying? But I remember just sitting on that porch with him, talking to him, and you know, he'd be smoking his little cigarettes. And Lawrence Fishburne,
It just sounds like good times, man. You know, I wish I could have been on that set, just hearing all these stories. You know, it's crazy.
That was Boyz n the Hood was a great set, especially for me because that was my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Those train tracks, we used to walk on those trains. We used to actually hop on that train and catch that train to. Yeah, that's crazy. We were little kids. And we would hop on the train and jump off at the Slauson Swap Meet because it goes all the way up to the Slauson Swap Meet. That's crazy. I can't even imagine my kids. My kids are grown, and I can't imagine them just running up on the side of a train, jumping on. But yeah, that's probably.
Are you talking about like Slauson, as in like Crenshaw?
Yeah.
Slauson.
So that train. Okay, so. I grew up on 60th and Van Ness, right? So that train, where that, for if you walk down Van Ness, you'll get to those tracks. But the tracks go in like a slant. Where we got on the tracks in the movie is actually a street called, no, that's not Cimarron. What's the street after Cimarron? Anyway, it's like Cimarron. So the train goes and there's like a little like gate, obviously. It's just like it was in the movie. And so it goes past Cimarron, and then it goes all the way up. And then the Slauson Swap Meet is on Slauson, but it ends up going past Slauson. Like it intersects. And if you stay on it, you can end up in Hoover and all of that stuff. But yeah, so Slauson Swap Meet is Crenshaw District. I guess that's what they call it nowadays. I don't know.
How far is that from where Nipsey was shot? Do you know? I mean, that was obviously some pretty busy areas and became more congested.
So Nipsey is from the neighborhood where I'm from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're from the same neighborhood.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say I knew him like that was my homeboy or whatever, but I knew Nipsey. I met him a few times. Cool
He's
dude.
pretty cool.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I met him not as a celebrity, you know what I'm saying, but
yeah,
you know, or some other stuff. But he was cool. But so it's the same neighborhood.
Okay.
Where I grew up on 60th and Van Ness is pretty much about 10 blocks from where that store is.
The Marathon.
And then yeah.
Okay.
So that particular place where he got shot has always been an active area just in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It used to be called Quick and Split Burgers was the burger place. It used to be over there. Okay. So traditionally, that when I was growing up over there, that was a mixed area so far as the gang activity.
Okay.
So it wasn't necessarily it wasn't necessarily the Nipsey's neighborhood or whatever. It was everybody's neighborhood, but like that burger joint that used to be there, it was called Quick and Split. Okay. Everybody used to go there, but it was known as a dangerous area to be in. That's all I can say. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. I definitely Nipsey, we from the same neighborhood.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I met Nipsey a couple times. Really, I heard about Nipsey the first time because my this is weird, but I only have one barber. So that's why my hair is long right now. I've only had one barber for like 20 years. And he lives actually, well, I'm not going to give up his location. But
yeah, no, don't worry about that.
But anyway, he lives near one of the sets of the movie, Boyz n the Hood. But anyway, the thing is, I heard about Nipsey from him because he used to cut Nipsey's hair too. Nipsey didn't always have a long ass hair. So he used to cut Nipsey's hair. I'm gonna let him tell his own story. Maybe you can get an interview with him one day. But
you have to shoot me that info, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot it to you on the low, man, and see if he might not. I don't know. But he's a barber in the hood. He got his own little shop, and he done cut everybody's hair. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that sat in his chair and is yeah, man. But I'm gonna shoot you his info. But that's how I heard about Nipsey was from him, and he was like, yeah, Nipsey coming up. Yeah. And so then when I was doing my radio show in LA, right? I was doing a radio show with my guy Mac, rest in peace. And Mac, we did a show. I don't know if I should say any of this stuff, but
it's up to you, man. It's up to you. We have
so me and Mac did a show. Are you familiar with the DVD that was out in what was it? It was called Pimps Up, Hoes Down, or something like that. And they had all these pimp. Yeah, they had all these pimp videos that were coming out. You know, because that was the era of like the street DVD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, it just so happened that on our show we ended up having like a few of these pimps, right? Gorgeous Dre and his dad, I forget what his dad was named, but all these pimps. Then my homeboy Mac, so I moved to where do we go? I don't know where we moved to. We moved to Atlanta, and then we came back to LA. My homeboy Mac, rest in peace. He was a full blown pimp. You know, whatever. He was a full blown pimp, right? So sometimes I would like be his little, you know, I would drive him around, whatever, just to hang out with my boy. So one day we was on the, hey man, this, you can get some views off this. But look, so one day we went to the track. To the track. It was me and my homeboy Mac Frozen. And I'm just out there hanging out, helping him out. It's this particular place off of Ventura. It's like a CVS or a Walgreens or something. It's in the valley. that all the pimps would go to while they girls would walk, the stroll. And all the pimps was out there, and Nipsey was out there too. Crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. The pimps was out there, and Nipsey was out there, and he was with the pimps. I don't know. I can't say what he was doing there, but he was there, and he was amongst peers. That's all I can say. Gotcha. It wasn't, but that's, a few times that I met him was always on some other shit, not necessarily rap or celebrity or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I did buy some T-shirts from his store a few times because it was a real store where they sold T-shirts, expensive ass T-shirts.
Oh, man, crazy prices.
Yeah. But then see, when I was buying the T-shirts from him, it wasn't the Marathon. It was just regular ass pro clubs. You know what I'm saying?
Have you seen him now?
Yeah, no, I seen him, but when he was selling pro clubs back in the day for damn near, it was expensive. But, niggas used to support because that was the homie trying to do his thing or whatever. But one thing about Nipsey, I ain't trying to tarnish his legacy or nothing like that, but Nipsey was really from the hood. Nipsey was really involved in some stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Nipsey, like I said, every time I met him, I wasn't never no Hollywood, wasn't never no rap, you know what I'm saying? And the niggas that I grew up with and came up with, they was with him too, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I grew up in that neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. So I grew up with all the people from that neighborhood, which means that I'm from that neighborhood. So I know a lot of people that's in the neighborhood doing the neighborhood things. You understand what I'm trying to say?
For sure.
And so those are the people that once they still in the neighborhood. They still doing neighborhood things. Nipsey and me are not the same age. He like 10 years younger than me or something like that. Yeah. But, I heard about him and I saw the people he was with, so I knew that he was on that. Yeah. Like, you around these people, I already know. You know what I'm saying? Because I grew up with these young men. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But other than that, I mean, he was a cool dude as far as I know.
Yeah, I wasn't much of a Nipsey fan. Unfortunately, I felt like I should have given him more of a chance, but like the Victory Lap album was too good, man. Like I couldn't believe it, how great it was. And my buddy Sam Dog, the infamous 253, he has a YouTube channel and all. He went to the last show that he did on that tour, which was in Seattle. And then he did a couple more shows in Cali and whatnot. But we were sitting at my apartment just hanging out, and he was on TMZ or something, and that's when he was like, dude, guess who got shot? I'm like, what? And he's like, showed me, and I was like, oh, dude, what? Crazy, man. Crazy. But
yeah, that was real crazy, man. Unfortunately, that's, when I first heard about it, I was out here in Atlanta, and so the young girl was like, oh my God, they shot Nipsey. They was talking about how it went down and they thought it was a hit and all this stuff. So then when I called home, to see what was going on, I found out what was really going on. It's just a sad story because, unfortunately in my neighborhood, Nipsey is not the first superstar that done had his life cut short by people from the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a unfortunate symptom of the neighborhood. Like, it's a lot of people that only the homies know about that was on their Nipsey shit before Nipsey was on his Nipsey shit that also got crossed out by so-called homies. You know what I'm saying? It's really sad. But at the same time, it's just a messed up situation, bro. Like, there's no way to explain that one away, and cuz got 60 years or whatever, but that don't bring Nipsey back. But then again, I don't know. It's just it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Yeah. So, it's crazy, bro. I will say though that, Nipsey definitely was part of the neighborhood. He did for the neighborhood. And niggas knew him in the neighborhood, you know, and he was neighborhood Nip for real, like for real. But then you got to ask the question, like, when does keeping it real go wrong? You know what I mean? Like Nipsey, and that's the crazy part too, though. Like that's the crazy part too, because we was talking earlier about Cube, right?
Yeah.
Now Cube was not as gangster as Nipsey. You know, Nipsey had some obligations to the neighborhood that Cube didn't have. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, people looked at Cube. There was all the difference between rapping in the 90s and rapping now was that people only had rumors out about where they was from or if they was gang banging or nah. Nowadays, niggas is like slap. You know, it's like crazy. Like you just gang banging on wax. So, but what I'm saying is earlier we talked about how cool Cube was, and Cube used to do shit like take pictures with the people and chill, and he ain't never got killed for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas Nipsey was trying to do that same shit, and he got killed for it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that shows you about the true dangers of
that life.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to disrespect nobody, but that's a dangerous life to live. You know what I'm saying? And I can't never say I wasn't never involved in the lifestyle, but at the same time, it's a dangerous life to live, bro. And when you're trying to keep it too real, then that life can come back to you. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I feel like once you get to a certain point, you should probably just denounce it or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I said, Nip, he had some obligations that he was trying to fulfill to a bunch of different things. You know what I'm saying? It's just unfortunate, man. You know, and then to know that, you know, it's unfortunate. But Nip ain't the only one. It's 1,000 million of them. You know what I'm saying? But Nip was from my neighborhood, and I knew him. I knew of him, so it kind of hit me a little different. But at the same time, you just gotta, you know, I don't think people should use it as a thing to say, well, Nip kept it real to the end or whatever, and Nip was a real dude. I think people should use it as a cautionary tale. Like, maybe I should just focus more on this than on that. You know what I'm saying? Because that ain't shit. And this can be something. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know, all of the glorification of all that other stuff is just to make money. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
A lot of people, they don't realize that it's some consequence with that hood life, you know? Shit, I know.
Oh man, you know, I lived in a pretty crazy neighborhood. You know, once 9/11 hit, like all the military people deployed and the gangs kind of made their way in. But you know, my best friend, he's a cop now. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you know, we did some stupid stuff in the neighborhood,
and when we were young, we could do stupid stuff. You know what stupid stuff I done done? Like that would have really. Nowadays, you can't even have a fight at school. The police is getting called.
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate that these kids can't have the room to mess up, but they got to know that they don't got the room to mess up. You don't even got the room to mess up though. Like we had the room. Man, I done been involved in some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? Like crazy stuff. Like even like I got kicked out of Crenshaw High School for fighting with the police, right?
Oh man.
Nowadays, I wouldn't have got kicked out. I would have went to jail for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have really went down. Like I done been in. It's been some stuff. So the things that I was involved in when I was young, you know, whether it be shootouts or whatever, nowadays you can't do that anymore. I was just looking at something that's popular online. What BTB Savage, right?
Okay.
Have you heard of this guy? He got
I haven't heard of it.
Doing a Vlad TV interview, whatever. So the people that killed him, they tracked them from where they came to where they went. They have their cell phone. It's like you can't do nothing nowadays.
Yeah.
I think that the kids should understand that, especially when you're talking about violent crime. It's crazy. You need to leave that alone, bro. Like, I think that the kids listen to this music, and I hate to say it, but I think the kids listen to this music and they just think shit is sweet.
Yeah,
but
man.
Like I said, if you ask Young Thug if shit is sweet right now, I don't think he's gonna say shit sweet.
Now there's a YouTuber I was watching. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Gideon, but he brought this kid on, and they were like in the store or something. Long story short, this guy does videos where he's like harassing people, and not Gideon, but this guy that he brought on. And then my girlfriend sent me a message. She was like, "Hey, look, this guy got shot," and I'm like, "Who is it?" She's like, "We watch him." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Who is that?" She was like, "Remember I was telling you on Gideon's videos, somebody's gonna get shot one day."
Wow.
Like, lo and behold, this dude's messing with people in public and gets shot, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll keep doing it." It's like, dude, you're dumb, man. There's
right, but see, what he's doing is not as dumb as what the average gangbanging youth person is doing.
Yeah,
because they're not doing it for anything. They're just doing it for what? I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, even like I live in Atlanta, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's people out here that are claiming the neighborhood where I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only reason I ever said, like, only reason I ever was part of that situation was because this is really my neighborhood. Like, I'm really from this hood. Like, I am this hood. Yeah. We grew up and we went to the school. We drank the water. We pumped the gas. We did all of that. So but for me, I don't, like, why would you want to claim a neighborhood you're not from? Why don't you just claim whatever it is or not at all? Like, for me, you see the kids out here nowadays, they're crazy. They're going crazy. But there's also a lot of kids out here, like, that's really doing things for themselves, really being entrepreneurs, really using the YouTube for what it's for. And
we just had that conversation with, you ever see the movie Hardball?
This a baseball movie?
The baseball movie, yeah. We just interviewed those guys, and we were talking about some of that. But we interviewed Michael Perkins. He played Kofi Evans in the movie, and we were talking about, everybody has opportunities nowadays, and they're using it, the TikToks, the YouTube, all of that stuff.
If I would have had, so it's a mixed bag because I don't know if I would have been able to handle it, but for sure, I don't think I would have ever, quote unquote, fell off if I had YouTube and Instagram and all that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even have MySpace when I was young. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the youth need to understand that there's a lot of opportunity out here for you to get money legally. People are getting money legally through all types of weird ways, a lot of it. So you can live the same lifestyle. I got a good friend who, we grew up in the same situation, but he's very well off. But he doesn't do none of the normal things that you might think a Black person would do. You know what I'm saying? He's doing stocks. He's doing companies overseas. But the opportunity is there. That's all I'm saying. For anybody and everybody. You don't just have to be a rapper. You don't just have to be an actor. You don't have to be a sports star. You don't even have to be on the radar of the people. You can just be rich somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's the message more people should preach to these people. Like, use opportunity. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Sure. For me, even with my situation, I can admit that I didn't even take advantage of the opportunity as much as I could have. You know what I mean? Because I could have used that to build my cooking business or whatever, but I had some issues of whatever, but you live and you learn. But I just think that the youth need to really know, like, there's so much opportunity out here for you. It's crazy, far more than what I had. If I wanted to learn about something when I was young, I had to go to the library. You know what I mean? And if I really wanted to learn, I had to go to the big library. But nowadays, like, it's literally in your phone. Like, you can learn anything.
No, most definitely. Most definitely. So yeah, man, living in the neighborhood and all that stuff. Obviously, Boys in the Hood seem natural to you, right? So I mean, that's what it sounds like. It just seems so natural because you lived in that neighborhood, you lived the life and things like that. Was like when it came to John Singleton doing movies with you and things like that, did you even stay in touch with him after the fact? It sounds like you said he was a mentor to you and whatnot. Like, did you stay in touch with him up until the point, unfortunately, when he passed away in 2019?
Absolutely, man. I talked to John quite often. Sometimes we would go, a couple months, but we always talked just normal stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We talk about the new comic books out. We talk about politics, just our personal lives. But yeah, I did talk to him. Like I talked to him maybe, was it 2 weeks before he passed? He had been trying to get me to come out to California to, see about the snowfall thing or whatever. I'm like, yeah, and then I think the last time I saw him, I was working at the Intercontinental Hotel, and he came up there and we talked, and he was here in Atlanta. We got together or whatever. But yeah, I kept in touch with him. Like I said, up until about 2 weeks before he passed. Yeah, I definitely. That was a hard blow for me to actually, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing about John, he always made me feel like he would always have a project for me to work on if I wanted to do something. You know what I mean? Like I say, he was like, oh man, I could write you in the Snowfall, or I can get you on, you know what I'm saying? Somehow. He always encouraged me, like, you have a natural talent for acting. He said, you should get back into acting. I was like, and he was like, well, I got somebody. He had a friend or something that lived out this way that he was going to have me do some meal prep for. But like I said, but he was like, you should really get back into acting. I'm like, I'm doing this now or whatever, But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was really crazy.
Yeah, no, we need more John Singleton movies, but we have to enjoy what we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch up on a couple more things here. You were in Three Ninjas. Obviously, that's I feel like that was a little different style of a movie for you compared to like Poetic Justice and Boyz n the Hood. I mean, how would you say? What would you say about that? Like, how do you feel about that one?
Well, it was definitely a movie. Like I said, it was a movie where I had to be more professional, more of an actor. It was a fun movie to work on. We got to do a lot of fight choreography.
Okay.
But yeah, it was definitely a fun movie to work on. But I had to be much more professional. I think that I could have been more professional, on the set or whatever. But it was the first movie where I had to be, an actor about his business. You know what I mean? And I think I did a pretty good job. The kids, they were real cool or whatever. I still keep in contact with my co-bully, Scott Caudill. But
really?
So that movie was not filmed in the hood. It was filmed way out in the valley, like near Magic Mountain. And so the original version of the movie had us getting beat up I don't know which version you've seen, but
probably the one where
there
you're
were
not
two versions. Right. So so in the one version we were getting beat up, we had to do all of this choreography, like real, kung fu guys were there and But then I don't know what happened around that time, but something to where they were like, where there's only two black people in the movie, we can't have one of them getting beat up. So they took the scene out. And I was a little bit disappointed because, we did our own stunts and stuff and we had to, do our own stuff. So, but I think on the DVD version, maybe it might be on there. But yeah,
it's on Disney Plus. They have both versions there. I've seen two of them. I'm like, why is there two different ones? But now I see it.
Yeah. So one version is yeah, times are different. And so, and I think, yeah, that was the first movie that, and then I think also with that movie was the first time I had to like actually read a contract. You know what I mean? Like read it and go through it and whoop-de whoop, because I wanted to make sure. I was starting to realize that you got to be what's going on with this money situation. You know what I'm saying? And I will give it up to John and Steve Nicolaitis, the people who were involved with Boyz in the Hood, because the contract they gave me, I don't think I made that much money necessarily initially, but I did get a lot off the back end, which was cool. You know what I'm saying? That helped support me throughout life. I still get checks from them. You know what I mean? So that was crazy. Cool because a lot of people they just get paid and then they go home. You know what I mean? So that was cool. And so I wanted to make sure it was the same thing with that movie. And yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome. Were any of those kicks or anything real? Was any of the moves and stuff? Because I have seen the clips from the one where you're actually doing, the getting beat up and whatnot.
Those three little dudes, they were really like three little ninja dudes or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
They were legit, huh?
They were legit. No, like we used to test them on the set, and they got tired of that shit, man. Like, cause we were testing their ass, throwing shit at them, and they was blocking shit. Like, they was real little ninjas. I don't know what style or whatever they had black belts in, but then also behind the scenes, you had all of these Asian guys who were really, karate guys. So they were, doing the choreography and all of that. So, yeah, not that any of them were real, but I mean, really, like wrestling is real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say this: in Boyz in the Hood, the scene where I got kicked, that was a real kick.
Was it really?
Yeah, we did that scene so many times. Then like John picked me up. He was like, "Yo, let me talk to you." And he's like, "I'm gonna get you I don't know what the heck was like a Lynx or a Game Boy or something." He's like, "Man, I need you to really nail this scene." I don't know what he told the other dude, but we did the scene, and when he kicked me, he kicked the shit out of me. And then everybody was like, "Oh man, great! That looked real." I'm like, "Oh, it was real," and it was a whole issue. But yeah, that was a real.
Man. That's where that Game Boy or whatever came into play, man. That's awesome.
He probably told him to really kick me. Man, just kick his ass.
Yeah. Do you have any like projects or anything that you see yourself coming into in the future? I know you're really big into your doing your cooking thing, but is there anything that you've been in contact with anybody for that you could spill or that we should look forward to?
Yes and no. I'm working on right now. So I drink beer and I eat food.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm working on a beer and food show. I did have like me and my buddy Ace, it was called the Sipper Club, and we put it on YouTube. But what we didn't know is that you can't play music when you do these shows. So we did all these shows with all this music, and it got flagged or whatever. So now I'm slowly but surely developing this traveling beer and food show. So on YouTube, I'm on YouTube. I think it's Baha Jackson. So what I'm gonna start doing is just uploading videos of me traveling and drinking beer and eating food.
There you go.
And yeah, that's it, man. I do catering, will travel, you know what I mean? But I don't necessarily have a desire to be, in the spotlight anymore or any of that. Because even though like I don't feel like it was like, that was 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But literally last night I'm at work and somebody's like, "Man, you're the guy," and he's like, "Oh, that ain't you. You look too old," or so.
Dang.
My bad.
Man down.
So, you know,
man down.
Yeah, man. So it's amazing that people still recognize me, but I don't, you know, it's been a blessing and a curse for me. I've definitely, you know, it's definitely helped me. You know, like I said, I'm from the hood, and after all of the fame, I went back to the hood and I participated in the hood. And, you know, it's been a few times where, you know, I probably would have got treated differently if I wasn't in that movie. You know what I'm saying? So,
For sure.
you know, I appreciate people recognizing me, but I don't have any really desire to be famous again. I do want the money, but I don't know.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm doing the YouTube thing and Instagram and whatnot. But yeah, I do cooking, catering, and I don't know. I'm willing to do interviews, guest appearances. Somebody just asked me to do a guest appearance in their movie, so hey.
Oh man, there you go.
I'm willing to do it all, but it's not you know.
It's just not your focus right now. Your focus is just doing what you're doing now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What kind of music were you playing in on your videos? I mean, obviously, because I know the whole copyright thing. We get hit with it all the time. It's bizarre. But I have a buddy actually that makes beats and stuff. He actually makes our like intro beats and stuff like that. So I might have to get you guys in contact.
Right. Yeah, that would be good because yeah, so then I learned about that afterwards, that you have to do the non-copyrighted stuff. But it sucked because we did so many shows, like, and we're just doing them and doing them, and they were great. But I think that I wanted the music to kind of help me out, you know, with the thing. But you know, it is what it is.
Well, you still use Instagram pretty much? Or?
Yeah, I use Instagram, and yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I don't really use Facebook that much. I use Instagram and YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely get that plug down below. I'm in the description and whatnot. Get you some people on over there, and then I'll definitely introduce you to my buddy Adrian with the Pioneers. The Pioneers. Sorry, they do. He makes beats, man. You'll love him, and you know, get you guys talking a little bit. But yeah, man. You know, I do appreciate all the time, all the information you've given me and everything. I know you're finished up with work for the night. But my girlfriend and I, we always like to ask a question here to end it off. You know, hearing everything you told me, it's a lot more different than what everybody else that we've done, you know, this little interview thing with. So like when it comes to, oh man, I'm kind of stumped, man. I don't really know what to ask, but I'm going to come up with something right now off the top of my head. So, you know, you lived the hood life and you've gone through it all. You've played in movies, things like that. And now you're a father and, you know, a chef. Like what kind of advice would you give for somebody that is living in a life where per se like poverty and just feels like they're going through a struggle? Like, I don't know if you really per se went through that yourself. Because we never really got too far into it, but you know, people that are feeling like they're in a hopeless situation or things like that. Is that something you could relate to?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And what I can say about that is, yeah, I can relate to being hopeless. I felt like hopeless plenty of times, but obviously it wasn't it. You know what I mean? There's always tomorrow. But also, you know, just like we were saying earlier, there's like plenty of opportunity out here for you to do something to get yourself out of that place of hopelessness. Right now, we got the World Wide Web. Most places have public transportation. We got public libraries, public parks. There are places you can go to appreciate, you know, the beauty of the world. There are people you can go to talk to about how to get better. There's the internet to teach you how to do something. There's books to read, you know, but also usually a lot of times people feel hopeless because they're looking too much around to see what they don't have. Maybe you need to sit and realize what you do have and appreciate it. You know, got the opportunity to feel hopeless, you're probably alive. You know what I'm saying? You probably got something going on in your life to feel hopeless about. Go find something to feel hopeful about, or just enjoy the moment. Right now, this moment, you're sitting watching a video. None of that shit is bothering you. Kind of, sometimes you got to live in the moment and appreciate the fact that there's always tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could be dead, but you could be alive. You know what I mean? I remember when I was growing up, we all thought the world would end in 2000. Like
2012 for me.
Here we are 23 years later or 11 years later, and we're all still alive. So there's always hope for tomorrow, man, And no matter what you think, you could think something else. It sounds stupid, exactly. But it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? You could think something else, I just, for people that feel like they're living in poverty or are living in poverty, shoot. I mean, it's ways out of everything. You know what I mean? It's ways out of there. There's opportunity everywhere. There's ways to do. You just got to open up your mind to those ways. And it's not always the worst thing you can do. It might be the easiest thing you can do. You know what I mean? It might be as simple as, saving every little bit of change you find, or, it might be more drastic. I don't know. But there's always hope as long as you've got a breath to breathe. And sure. That's all I can say about that.
No, that's great. I mean, I definitely appreciate that because I felt like that many times in my life. And I just went through the spell where I was unemployed for 2 months, man, trying to figure it out, blowing through my savings. And here I am with a really good paying job, and things are just getting better, So now it's all wonderful. I mean, tomorrow's always another day to make that change or keep applying to what you're doing now. So,
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
no, for sure, man. I definitely appreciate us finally making this happen. I know we had some hurdles to get through.
Brother.
For sure. I hope we keep in touch, man.
Girlfriend could have been here so we could have had the full show, but
yeah, we might have to run a part 2 sometime later down the road and talk a little bit more poetic justice and things. But yeah, man, if you're in Seattle, hopefully we're staying in touch by then, or if we're in Atlanta, I would definitely love to see what you're cooking up, man. So
absolutely, bro.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate
it, man. Thank you for your time.
Oh, you got my word, man. Yeah, we'll keep in touch.
All right, for sure.
All right, see you, man.